I was dreaming again. The dream. The one with Jason. An array of colorful lights lit the room, and the spiced scents of cinnamon and clove permeated my senses. For one brief moment, I was home. Then I heard running in the distance. A disruption. I felt the wind of the basketball as it flew past my face. Heard the loud crash as it struck down the nearby canvas. My masterpiece.
Damn it, Jason!
I spat.
How many times have I told you not to play with that ball in the house?
I'm sorry, Dad.
The boy was petrified, but I didn't care.
I don't want to hear it. I'm done with you. Go to your goddamn room, now!
I came to regret those words. Far too late. Wetness streamed down the boy's flushed cheeks. He scurried away then, and slammed the bedroom door behind him. Good riddance, I thought. I went over to assess the damage. Not as bad as I'd feared. And so, despite Jason's distant sobs, I returned to my work. Amidst the last embers of the dying fire, I listened, knowing it would not take long for Jason's cries to fade away. And then, blissful silence. I woke with a start, inhaled the pungent odor of rot, and felt the cold sting of rough concrete on my bare back. My head hurt. What happened? I looked down and gasped. There I was, naked, tied up and left to rot on the floor of some dank cell. I wished I were dreaming, but my pounding skull told me otherwise. Despite a sudden wave of nausea, I weakly sat up. The room spun as though I had just emerged from heavy anesthesia. Where the hell was I? And more importantly, how was I going to get out? After a moment, I cautiously rose to my feet to better examine my surroundings. I was trapped inside a cramped, dimly lit prison cell. Spiderwebs littered the ceiling, and thick layers of dirt and grime told me that the space hadn't been occupied in some time. The cell door loomed in front of me, a constant reminder of my captivity. My movements must have garnered some attention, because a feminine voice suddenly spoke from behind the right cell wall.
Hey, you awake? Oh, please be awake.
Yeah, I'm awake. My hands are tied, though. Where are you? I can't see you.
I'm locked in the cell next to you. You'll need to find something sharp to cut the rope so you can free your hands. There must be some something nearby that you can use. See if you can cut yourself free.
The cell door was firmly locked. There was no way I was getting out of here without the key. A green lantern shone brightly and provided the only visible light in the cell. That was the idea. Now if only I could figure out how to do it. Someone etched several marks into the stone wall, likely counting his years of incarceration. A small index card set upon the cell's table. Something was written on it. I should find a way to free my arms first. I turned around to find a soiled bed, a rusted toilet, and a dried sink. Why was I in this place? A scratched metal grate cover was secured to the wall by 4 screws. The rusted sink was dry, as though it hadn't been turned on in years. The faucet knob turned, but no water emerged. The old toilet was covered in dirt. While the water inside the bowl was brown from age, it was mercifully clear of excrement. That shelf didn't look too sturdy. I thoroughly searched the bed. Not easy given that my wrists were tied. On the floor underneath the bed's frame was a dirty penny, dated 1922. Under normal circumstances, I wouldn't even bother with it. But given my present condition, I picked up the old penny with my clenched knuckles. loosened and removed 3 of the great cover's 4 screws. The cover fell open. Behind it were a set of metal bars, one of which was broken with a sharp edge. I dropped to my knees and positioned the rope binding my hands so that it pressed upon the sharp edge of the broken metal bar. I then began to shift my arms back and forth vigorously so that the rope rubbed against the jagged edge. The rope snapped within seconds, and my arms were freed. Knowing it might come in handy in the future, I decided to hold on to the rope.
Okay, I'm free.
Good. Now, see if there's a key somewhere nearby. I've had the key in my cell, but it won't open my cell door. Maybe you'll have better luck.
Is there a note inside your cell?
Yep. You too?
It says to meet some new friends in the cafeteria.
Mine too. Too bad we can't get out of here, huh?
I found a small key.
Try it on the cell door.
Ah, damn it. It's not working. It must not be the right key.
I was afraid of that. My name's Jessica, by the way. Jessica Bartlett. But all my friends call me Jessie, so you can too.
William Thane. Do you remember how you got here, Jesse?
I'm afraid not. I was driving home from work around 10. The next thing I remember is waking up here.
The last thing I remember is going to bed.
Hey, maybe you'll be lucky and this will all turn out to be one big nightmare.
I wish.
Can I ask you an odd question? Do you have any clothes on?
No. Another little memory I'm missing. Last I remember, I was fully clothed.
Yeah, me too.
Where do you work, Jesse?
The Busy Mart, one of those crappy 24-hour convenience stores. You?
Oh, I'm currently unemployed.
Okay.
Do you know how long you've been here?
I've been awake about 15 minutes. Who knows how long I was here before that? I tried to wake you, by the way. I called out, but you just kept on snoring. You were mumbling in your sleep, too. Were you dreaming?
I thought of Jason and heard my own harsh words echo through my head.
Yes. About my son.
Oh. So I take it you're married?
Not anymore. Has anyone walked by your cell? Or did you hear anyone else?
No, but I wouldn't have known you were there either if it weren't for your snoring.
There must be a way out of here.
Your guess is as good as mine.
have an idea, Jesse. Let's swap keys. I tied my key to the piece of rope that bound my hands. I'll hold on to the rope and throw the key to you. If you don't catch it, I can pull the key back and try again.
Great idea, Will. I'll do the same.
I grasped firmly onto the free end of the rope and let the tied key dangle on the floor outside my cell.
Great. Now throw the key over to me. You can do it. Almost got it that time. That's okay, Will. Try again. Gotcha.
Jessie followed suit and threw me the key she'd found in her own cell. I caught it on the second try.
Let's hope this works.
The lantern provided the only light in the small cell. It was fine where it was. It worked.
Here too. We're free.
I stepped out of the cell, turned around, and found myself inside a long, narrow hall that led in several directions, including south to the cafeteria. I quickly spotted Jessie, sitting nervously in another cell to the northwest. I proceeded up the stairs to the second level of the cell block. The cells here were smaller and more cramped. It said PUK. I still have no idea what that means. The security camera was pointed right at me. I wondered whether the alarm bell still worked. Someone was a baseball fan. The bloody handprint on the mirror gave me chills. If I had to guess, I'd say the occupant of this cell was a weightlifter. Most of the journal was blank, and several pages were torn out. Only a few entries remained. An inmate's journal. A name was written on the inside cover. Daniel Price. Several pages were torn out. occupant of this cell liked to collect travel brochures. I wonder if he ever got to visit any of these places. Just a cobweb, no spider in sight. A photograph of a young woman. Written on it were the words, "With love, Michelle." I wondered what caused the stain, but decided I'd rather not know. There was no way that toilet would flush with what was inside it. The rusted sink was dry, as though it hadn't been turned on in years. That was one big blood stain. Something terrible happened here. The bed was flipped on its side, and a large blood stain covered the mattress. The words "help me" were repeatedly scratched into the wall. Somehow, I got the impression that no one ever did. If I were sent to prison, I'd line my cell walls with any stickers I could find too. I walked over to Jessie's cell. The young woman was sitting on the floor against the bunk bed. She was clearly terrified. I walked to the end of the hall and found myself facing an old guard station. Several lockers lined an exterior wall. I picked up the phone. No dial tone. Of course. An odd symbol was spray painted here. It looked fresh. The logbook contained a list of guards that were stationed inside the cell block at any given date and time. The faded photo of a young woman still sat inside a picture frame on the desk. I wonder whose this was. I wondered whether this old speaker was used for general announcements or to sound an alarm. Maybe both. I imagined what it would be like if these windows were my only view of the outside world. It wasn't a pleasant thought. A piece of masking tape was stuck onto the front of the locker. On it, written in black Sharpie, was the letter J. door was locked, courtesy of a combination padlock on its handle. The combination worked. I removed the padlock and opened the locker. Those clothes were a welcome sight. I placed the lantern on the guard's desk and quickly got dressed. The prison garbs weren't exactly the latest fashion, but they fit well enough. After tightening the pants as best I could, I grabbed the walkie-talkies and picked up the lantern. Now to bring Jessie some clothes. I stepped inside the prison showers. The slippery floor was still wet, thanks to a few leaky shower heads. The shower heads provided little privacy. It was too dark in the hallway to wander around. The note inside my cell said to meet in the cafeteria, so that was where I decided to go. The sign indicated that the cafeteria was to the south. Aren't you coming?
I think I'll just wait here until you manage to find some clothes.
Well, they're not exactly in style, but I found us some clothes.
Those will do. Thanks.
Jessie opened the door to her cell, and I handed her the clothes. I waited outside as she dressed. When she was done, Jessie grabbed the lantern from the floor and exited the cell. I handed Jessie the spare walkie-talkie. Here, I found a pair of these, too. You never know when we might need them. Jessie nodded and took the device. How do the clothes fit?
Well enough, I suppose. Listen, thanks for helping me get out of the cell.
Of course, Jessie. We're in this together, after all.
I feel the same way, Will. So, I guess we should find the cafeteria, huh? Lead the way.
An old movie poster was taped to the wall. I'd never heard of the film.
I wonder what the movie was about.
notebook sat on the wooden stool. I picked up the notebook and flipped through its pages.
Can we hurry up, Will? I want to get out of here.
Jesse and I stepped inside the cafeteria and found ourselves standing before 4 men.
Ah, and the last guests in our little melodrama finally arrive. Please step forward.
We walked to the center of the room, and the others turned to face us.
Looks like I'm the only woman. Figures.
Were you all...
Locked in cells too? Yes.
We all got notes telling us to meet here.
We wanted to wake you, but you were both out cold. And we knew each of you had to be awake to get the other out by swapping keys, so we figured it'd be best to wait for you here.
My name is Grayson Wilford. This is Gerard Auberon, Sonny Payton, and...
Louis Algar, movie star? Don't tell me you haven't heard of him.
Sorry.
I'm afraid not.
What do you know?
I'm William Thane, but you can all call me Will.
Jesse Bartlett. Nice to meet you all.
Wonderful. So, now that we're all acquainted, does anyone have the slightest idea how we're going to get out of this place?
Well, I suppose we should start by...
Suddenly, the television in the back of the room turned on with a hiss of loud static. An instant later, a masked figure appeared on the screen.
Good evening, everyone. I'm so glad you could all make it. By now you're probably all wondering why you're here. Well, that's because the 6 of you share a common trait. Fear. Fear of accepting responsibility for something that has happened to each of you in your past. Something that has been troubling you all for some time. You see, each of you has caused the death of another. Yet none of you has had the courage or decency to accept responsibility for that death. This prison is where you all belong. But somehow, you have all managed to escape justice for your crimes. Justice. That is a word that is not used nearly enough in our world. But it is something that I know quite well. Something that the 6 of you will learn before the night is over. But I'm nothing if not a decent person. So here is the situation. It is now midnight. The 6 of you have until 6 a.m. to find a way out of this prison. To get out, you must each come to terms with and accept responsibility for your offenses. If you manage to do this, then you will be free to go. As with all things, however, there is a catch. For every hour it takes you to complete this task, one of you will die, as penance for your collective crime. It is only just. So my question to you now is, will you face your fear? You have 6 hours.
The figure disappeared from the screen.